It seems that we're going live. I hope everyone is having a good morning this morning. Let's see who all comes in. All right. If you're over in, hello, Nicole, you're in first today. Where's Tally and Charlie? All right. Lee Kenton, how you doing, buddy? I hope you're doing well. There's Tally. Sean Barry, how you doing, my friend? I saw the pictures of the school that Rack Coffee, Random Act of Kindness Coffee. Guys, if you're interested in some good coffee, I would check that out. I saw the school that you guys have built, Sean. Their proceeds at Rat Coffee go to building for children in need. And they had just built a school in Mexico. So they're educating the less fortunate, help out Random Acts of Kindness Coffee. Hell yeah, Sean. All right, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. Yes, give Sean Barry over at Rat Coffee some hearts. Those guys are doing good work over there. If you're over in YouTube land or Periscope, shoot me a message so I can see that you guys are there. As I'm on Restream, it's difficult for me to know that you guys are there unless you send me a comment. Right on. It's not a good hair day, guys. We're falling apart here. We're falling apart here rather early. Oh, Mod General Jen is in the house. Yes, she says, hello, Instagram land. Jennifer, you had missed it. I got a tweet, or not a tweet, but Jack Murphy was on Periscope yesterday, crashing my show, and it took me by surprise. And I was just like, oh, and then he retweeted. So I had a lot of people see the show yesterday. Lisa Marie, it is good to see you. I hope that you're watching because you had a day off work and not because you're back on lockdown. Lexercise says no way. Looking good. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Right on. Jen says she's been missing so much. Well, you've been certainly busy yourself. So, couple things, guys. I want to talk about positivity today, but I want to give some actual thoughts on it with some tips that we can all practice. But with that, I just wanted to. James Taylor says, "Who is the Muppet behind you?" Well, that's Animal. He is my co-host, and he almost fell in the sink. So thanks a lot, James Taylor. All right. So Ian of Florida, how you doing? Good. I hope the weather is nice as always there. So yesterday, guys, I don't know if you could tell, but I was a little bit thrown off of the show yesterday morning because I had my plan was out and I was going through it, and then I had noticed somebody from Twitter that I follow had jumped on the Periscope named Jack Murphy. He gives great. His podcast is great, and I'm a fan of it. So when I saw him pop on the Periscope and shoot me some comments that he was watching, and he tweeted out the show, it completely threw me off. I wasn't expecting it, but it was funny. But I had a couple people mention that they said I seemed out of it on the show or just something was up, but that's what it was. It was one of those days when those kind of things happen, and it's kind of silly because I tend to forget it. I tend to forget that doing the show, I'm not only talking to you guys who I talk to regularly, Charlie and Jen and Tally and Lisa and Jaron, all you guys. I tend to think it's only you guys out there. And then something like that will happen where somebody much larger than me will jump on the show. And it always freaks me out. I was like, oh, right. Like anyone can just pop in here and say hello. And I forget that I have somewhat of a presence from the show, but we do this show so often. I feel like I'm just talking to about 10 of you when there's actually quite a lot. And then the other day, last week, somebody had, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was the choice of topics, But usually on a replay on YouTube, so I will get like 200 views, which is cute. It's nice. It's like, oh, well, people are watching, and I can count on that roughly. But something last week, I had one that went to 600 views. Now, I don't really know what that means. I don't really know what anything really means in internet land anymore, because everything just seems to have so many different meanings. However, those numbers are a lot bigger than the other numbers I've been having. So it's like, well, that's cool. Who knows? Anyway, maybe the word is getting out, guys. Maybe we're picking up steam. Maybe the world is taking notice of our awesomeness over here. Hippie the Hills, how you doing? It's good to see you this morning, my friend. So anyway, but I do want to talk about positivity, because it was something that came up in yesterday's stream that got me thinking. And I want to make sure for a lot of you guys that you understand that we have two types of systems thinking that allow us a certain view of ourselves and our place in the world. And so this is from Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, which is we have our quick subconscious brain firing off patterns and behaviors that it's programmed to do. And there's also some thinking involved in that, but it's very simple. It's very 2 apples plus 2 apples is 4 apples. Very easy, very simple, and it's very fast. And we tend to rely on that thinking because it allows us to maneuver through the world quickly, and it also allows for certain behaviors to get programmed subconsciously. And when they're programmed subconsciously, we tend to just go with them because they are programmed behaviors. So we tend to think if they're programmed behaviors, they serve us very well. Okay, so that's one system of thinking. The other system of thinking is when our prefrontal cortex comes online and we have to think about things. We have to mull them over. We have to listen to the words and the details, because programmed answers are not so readily available, because the question or the decision that is being asked and having to be answered is more complicated than just one of the programmed canned responses that we already have. Those responses are also based on our emotions, will tend to drive them as well. Now, understanding both of those processes, fast and automatic emotionally based behaviors, and slow analytically based behaviors, both of those two systems serve certain purposes. So the first system allows you to be able to zoom in on certain aspects of your day. It's able to zoom in, so to speak. Whereas systems thinking, processes thinking, you have to pan out so that you can frame the full system and see how the individual parts work for a whole of the system. So one way to think about this is your body is made up of organs. Each one of those organs are parts, but they are parts in a much larger system, which is the body. And then you yourself play a role in a society which you are a part of. The society in which you operate in is the system in which you operate in. So if you're a bad part, you can corrupt the system. If you focus in on certain parts to your body, the way it works, the way it processes things, and you want to maximize it or optimize that part, well, you're going to make that part work better, do with maybe better nutrition, better health, better sleep. You can have and eat, take in certain pharmaceuticals that will maximize or slow down or speed up certain processes of those organs. Then there is going to be a consequence or there's going to be a reaction to you maximizing that one part. Now, if you zoom in on an issue only to see it whether it is maximizing, it's running to its optimum best or not, then you have zoomed in on the part, but you are unfocused on the system as it runs as a whole. Why do I bring this up in the context of looking at things positively? Because there is a lot of times that if you zoom in on certain things to see whether or not they're working properly or not, you are then unable to see whether or not that part is contributing healthily, helping the system run better. So if you're only focused in on the part and it isn't working the way you would like it to, then you will start tinkering with it to get it running the way it is, but there's going to be a reaction to that part. Now, what does this have to do with positivity? Well, a lot of times, in order to stay positive, we need to be able to focus on a problem or a challenge situation in both ways, as a parts system and as a systems system. And so you want to look at all the parts within the system, see how they're working, see what they're doing, and then look at the performance of the system as a whole. This gives you two complete outlooks on your challenge that is in front of you. I bring this up because if you're going to stay positive of a situation, you're going to need to look at it in both aspects. You want to make sure that the parts are running the way that you would like them to for the results that you would like, but also want to make sure that as a whole, the system is running properly. This gives you another view of the challenge or issue that you're looking at to find ways to feel good about the work, the efforts that you are putting in for a lot of people. And this happens, and this certainly happens in my life a lot, especially in the art of charm, where I am focused on certain aspects of the company and AJ's focused on certain aspects of the company. And we have to bring both of our views in to look at the company as our parts are working, what the whole system looks like, so that we're able to celebrate our wins and to feel good about the work and effort that we're putting in. How many of you guys find it difficult at times to see the fruits of your labor, to see the results of all the efforts that you've been putting in to certain challenges that you've picked out for yourself so that you're growing? Maybe it's the gym. Maybe you decided during coronavirus that you were going to pick up a new hobby. Maybe the new hobby, there was a new skill set that you've decided to learn. I know for myself over COVID, I've started this insanity every morning to hang out with you guys and have some fun, but also to add to the company as a whole of that there was more activity going on that our listeners can get involved with, but also as an opportunity to grow and get more comfortable in front of the camera, which I'm sure a lot of you who watch this show regularly have now seen me singing, talking to an imaginary Muppet. I would I would say that my getting comfortable in front of the camera speaking to you guys is certainly one skill that I have gotten over since this has all begun. Now, that's one small part of the larger system. So our mod General Jen over there in Periscope land, she is a fitness trainer. So Jen, I am sure that you are well aware to be able to point out a lot of your clients' gains through all of their efforts and how important it is for them to see on the overall that they're changing. Because if they only went to you as I would like a trainer to help me get a six pack. Well, if they're only focused on the six pack, then they're going to be having a difficult time seeing their gains that they have made. Why? Because if you're focused on the part, you're not going to be able to see in all the other areas that your body is responding to all the new training that you've been doing. And for a lot of us, the way our body is put together, you getting a six pack is one of the last things that come with training, getting better, eating better, getting sleep, going to the gym 4, 5, 6 times a week. The six pack is one of the last things that happen. But yet, in the rest of your body, you're going to be having incredible changes. And if you're unable to look at the system rather than the parts, you're not going to be able to see those changes. And then it makes all the efforts that you're putting in, makes it difficult for you to want to continue and build out. This is why it's important to understand between the two types of thinking, whether it is parts thinking or systems thinking. As I said, that system thinking allows you to zoom out of the challenge to be able to see any area where there's going to be those changes, those celebrations, those things to be excited about. And that's where the most of the positivity can lie, because you being happy fuels you to want to get back into the gym and continue the work. Systems thinking and to be able to differentiate between parts thinking and systems thinking is going to be incredibly important to your worldview on any type of challenge that you come across. Most people get stuck in a temperament way of thinking. So if you're more conservative, you tend to look at systems thinking. Rather, if you're more liberal, you tend to look at more parts thinking. Those are generalizations that I'm making. And I'm not saying that every person who thinks this way or feels this way thinks in this manner. I'm just pointing out temperament differences and how it allows you to think. By understanding there's two types of thinking, you're able then to look at any situation, any challenge that you're in objectively and say, okay, here's my parts thinking. Wow, I'm seeing some changes, but I'd really like to put in some more effort. I wish it was much better. Then you could go, what is my systems thinking? Then you could look at that side of it and see all the different changes. Or vice versa, where there's going to be more efforts and more developments in parts thinking rather than systems thinking, especially if the results for the system are going to come much later. I hope that is making sense to you guys, because I was trying to put that together this morning to the best of my abilities, and I think I've put it together well. Now, if you're interested in learning more about that, Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, puts together that argument. I've also seen it in the book that I'm reading now, which is Victor Manashari's book, Thinking for Yourself, which we will be interviewing him in September. And I'm very excited about it because his book has certainly been enlightening. he lays out wonderful arguments as to all of the decision making that we have already given up in our lives due to technology. And once you realize just how much decision making we have given up, it shows you how easily then you can be led around. Because the rule for victim and much of our relationship to decision making looks like this, which is learned dependence turns into blind obedience. That was the same. I'm going to say that again. Learned dependence turns into blind obedience. Sheer Davis says, hey, good morning. Can I ask you a question? Have my videos on my page. Love to see more persons see them and support me. Okay. I guess Sheer Davis would like people to look at their videos on their page. Now, with that whole idea of systems thinking and parts thinking, I want you to objectively look at the challenges that are in your life, where you want to get better, and view them from a systems and parts lens so that you are able to see the developments. Also, if you're looking at the news or you're looking at social media and you're trying to find the positive, you're trying to frame it, the information in a way that allows you to feel good about what's going on around you, look through both lenses. I do it all the time, and it certainly allows me to frame things in a positive manner. Because remember, the news is already framing things for you in the way that it wants you to view the information. A lot of times they want you to view it through the lens that supports their agenda. So by looking at it through both lenses, you will get a better picture of what's going on so that you can make a better decision of what you're going to believe and how you're going to interpret that information. Don't allow the media, who have already showed their incompetency of framing things for you, to see it the way they want you to see it. Because that's where we are. We have already been shown time and time again that every news organization has an agenda. Journalism is dead, and now we just have activism, which is, here's the agenda, here's the way I want you to frame the information that backs up my agenda, and you're going to choke this down. Nah, that's quite all right. I am going to look at it objectively, and I am going to look at the information from two different perspectives that will allow me a better resolution of what is really going on. Because remember, what I call it earlier? Learned dependence is blind obedience. If I allow the media to continue framing things for me, learned dependence, I'm depending on them to give me the information as they would like me to see it, then I will blindly follow them. Nope. They've already shown that they do not deserve an audience. They do not deserve to have a following. Why? Because they are liars. There you go. So with that, I want you guys to be able to frame things in a way that allows you the ability to change them for the better, so that you will have a positive life, so that you will see things in a manner that allows you to have control over how you view them, see them, and act accordingly. So right on. Now, I have something else I would like to mention to you guys. The Art of Charm is now putting together, Tony Rehab says, great way of describing it. Perspective is everything. Well, thank you, Tony. Yes, it is. It is everything. And that perspective is your choice. And remember, they're already giving it to you in a way that they would like for you to see it. Don't take their word for it. Don't. They haven't earned your support. They have not earned your fellowship. They have not earned your trust. In fact, at every corner, they have shown us that they're incapable of being trusted. So this is one of the reasons that I love doing this show, because I want you guys to have the tools that have been at my disposal, that I have been able to use to interpret, dissect, and focus my life in a way that is beneficial to the system as a whole and not to just the part. It is about the system. It is about you in your role into society as a whole, and your positivity and ability to frame things in a productive manner allows you to be a better part for the system as a whole. You have an obligation as a part in the system to be a good part. And that is good for yourself, your family, and the people who are immediately surrounding you. And that is what is important, because that's what makes life amazing. So, guys, also, at The Art of Charm, we're rolling out a brand new year-long mentorship program. It is going to be rad. It's kick-ass. It starts this week. We have been working on this for a while. I'm really excited about it. It's if you want more information on it, and you should, because it's going to be great, all you have to do, shoot me a message saying mentorship. Or, just shoot me a message saying mentorship. Myself or AJ will get back to you. It begins this week. It's super rad. I'm super excited. It's a year long, and we're going to help you implement all of these mindsets and all of these skills for a whole year. And imagine what your world is going to look like implementing these tools into your life over a full year. Tony Rehab says, what are your thoughts on Stoicism? Well, as a philosophy, it is incredibly important, much like all philosophies, Stoicism, skepticism, cynicism, as well as even objectivism. All of those things need to be visited, because there are relevant tools in all philosophy that is going to allow you to be a better person. Once again, it comes back to the idea of, how does it make the parts work? And are those parts helping the system as a whole? You will find all of those answers in philosophy. That's what makes philosophy so rad. And I'll tell you another thing, Tony, why I love philosophy so much. Because there's an evolutionary part to philosophy where it is built, and over time it evolves, and it turns into other disciplines, into other philosophies, which continue to enhance our lives as human beings and enhances our society and civilization. All of those answers in how far civilizations have come from where they have started, from the hunter and gathering to what we're doing right now as I'm speaking to you through a plastic rock that was in my pocket. Now, all of that can be found in the evolution of philosophy, and that's what makes it so brilliant. So, yes, Stoicism, there is plenty to be gained from Stoicism. The idea of gaining more and more control over your emotions through a system of thinking and reason, incredibly important. Why? So you don't go around life being led by your emotions, getting you into trouble by being too impulsive and too excited. We need to be able to critically think through those, and Stoicism is one of those disciplines that help you with that. You know, that is also the bedrock and the foundation of cognitive behavioral therapy. Yes, Stoicism. That is CBT's foundation. And then William James gave it an update. I believe it was emotional response, behavioral, something like that. Can't remember the last part. And then Aaron Beck had the godfather of cognitive behavioral therapy put its final and modern touches on it. So yes, Stoicism is important, Tony. So thank you for the question. All right, guys. Oh, it is 9:03. I got to head out of here. Thank all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you, General Jen, for being there on Periscope. If you guys are interested in our year-long mentorship program to bring out your X Factor so that you can be a better person for yourself and your immediate surroundings, join us in the X Factor program. All you have to do is shoot me a message on any of our social media, and myself or AJ will get up to you. Shoot me the word mentorship. All right, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. So, Cam Rands, join the room. Hello, Cam. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I got to go.